Hello, hello! And we are coming today with another episode of Love Connection. And today we are going to be talking about, do you stay or do you go? When is that perfect time when you let go of the person, and how to do it the way that you can actually do it, right? Because it's easier said than done. What do you
Yes.
say?
Hi, everybody. It's a difficult decision, but if you understand who you are and where you want to be, then you can communicate it in a loving way. And it becomes, as you talk about it, first of all, with yourself, and then see where you want to be in that relationship, then it will be easier to and communicate it with your partner and see if there you both want to stay in that space or not.
All right. So, do we have any examples where we can share with the people, with the audience, in terms of how do we do it, and what is the best way to do it? Because obviously, in the relationship, it takes two to tango, and a lot of times, like I feel that women are the ones to fight for these relationships. And I don't know, Elle, what is your thought on that?
I
Unless somebody wants to like really debate that, right?
Yeah, but I'm a conscious uncoupling coach, so I have a lot of these incidents or interaction with people who are actually in a relationship for 10 years or more, or in a marriage, and they want to see if they want to stay or they want to leave. So the first thing I work with them is on how to understand who they are and what has happened in this interaction, in this relationship. And if there is, because we tend to, all of us tend to say, okay, it's his fault, it's her fault, and we give like 100% of the fault to the other person. But with my approach with this kind of coaching is, okay, we'll see what is your 2% in this interaction. And as soon as my clients will understand their 2%, what they have done wrong in this interaction, then the whole scenario, it changes. They look at it differently, and then a lot of times they communicate it better. They can sit down and have a conversation. So it all depends on both sides. But the usual part is, I mean, I have seen uh, men who wanted to really make that relationship work. I have seen that women wanted to do it. So to me, it has been a balance of men and women in that space. So I cannot say women are the ones that want to keep the relationship. Men are also want to keep the relationship, and they both work hard to get to that space uh, if they want to. I mean, there are people who really don't want to, and that's what.
Yes. And you know what, in my from my experience, I was the one to always fight. And that's exactly like went to the point where I just gave in, where I just said, you know what, enough is enough. And we just finalized our divorce. It's just recent, but I'm feeling great because, for the longest time, I felt very, very lonely. And on top of it, it felt like, no matter what I was doing, it was never good enough. And I remember myself before I did this inner work, like I can't emphasize enough how important it is to do the inner work, because you just draw that power that you have inside of you, right? That you not even thought that you had inside of you. And I remember myself 6 years ago when I was like shaken to the core, when we were on the verge of divorce. And at that time I was like the one trying to do something and save it, and like constantly. Actually, I manifested back our relationship. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing, because I know it works if we work it, right? But it's just, like, the thing is that the vicious cycle repeats, right? It's exactly how the universe teaches us. If we do not really learn our lesson hard way, the universe is gonna present it again and again and again, in the different situations, but the lesson is gonna be presented again and again. So for me, it had to come to the point where I just said, you know what, it is what it is. And I'm totally fine, I'm at peace. And just wanted to say to anybody who is hearing, or anybody who needs that empowering, and just understand that if somebody doesn't appreciate us for who we are, there is no point to stay in that relationship, because you can never be somebody who you're not meant to be.
Yeah.
And another thing is personal boundaries. It's so important to honor ourselves and have the personal boundaries, to realize that not anybody can actually step over and cross those boundaries, no matter who these people are. So for me, it was a huge lesson to learn. And I'm so grateful to do this inner work, because I can take it very well. And it just, like, it's like you were talking about conscious uncoupling. For me, it was like already conscious, because once you kind of already made a peace with that, it feels natural.
Yeah, I mean, you have to understand that the other person cannot read your mind, and the communication part is essential. In my past experience, in my relationship, I was not able to communicate my needs. I didn't even know what my needs are. So it gets to that space, then it's that 2% is on my side. When I went deep, as you said, then I understood and worked on myself, what my needs are, communicated effectively, lovingly. Then if the interaction doesn't go hand to hand, and it doesn't, I mean, when you communicate your needs and your emotions, and if it's not, still not in this, doesn't work, then it doesn't work. But then if it does, I'm sure that when you communicated your needs and your emotions, and you both were on the same side, then it worked out. So that would be a best way of describing it. Knowing what your needs are is a key, and communicating it to the other person. Doesn't matter if you're male or female, it has to be in that same space, because everybody has their own needs.
Yes, but what I wanted to add, it's like, it takes two to tango. And I keep emphasizing that, because if one person communicates and do everything what, like we are doing, hey, Evie, it's great to see you. And, another person just is not open for communication. That's the thing, right? So that's why it's important, like you said, it's important to know your values, and it's important to know your boundaries. How far are you going to tolerate something before you actually say to yourself, enough is enough? That's what I'm trying to convey in today's story, right? Because again, if one person is willing and does everything, and another person kind of, like just let it go, whatever happens, happens, right? It's not the way to be in the relationship.
No, then it's, I mean, it's 1 year, 2 year, 10 years. You cannot let it go for so many years. Eventually, at one point, actually, I did have a client today, and we talked about the same thing. And I said, if you don't communicate what your needs are to your partner today, and this was a young lady, what's going to happen in 5 years? So let's step by step get to that space of being able to communicate and see what the other person reflect back. Because if not, if you just say yes to everything that the other person says, then eventually you're not going to say yes, because it just bottles up layers of anger.
Absolutely. And the fear, I think what really is not allowing people to express themselves and stay in their power is the fear. The fear that, they're going to be alone, the fear that that person is not going to, understand them. But then again, my question is, why to stay in this kind of relationship?
Yes,
So
uh, the key, it's interesting because we all come from that background and that limiting belief of when we were children. uh, so a lot of times the two people are interacting, they're not interacting as an adult, they're interacting as a 5-year old to a 5-year old. So it's not going to go anywhere because the adults are not there. And yes, we have to understand what our limiting beliefs are from our past experiences, from our childhood traumas, to be able to put that aside and communicate from today, from that old adult self of who we are today.
absolutely. And I just, to bring the point for everyone, when we know exactly what we want, we won't tolerate what it's not what we want. It's very important and crucial to understand. Do not tolerate something that you do not want.
And you know what?
Because year after year, it's gonna, just like you said, Elle, it's gonna build up, and one day it's just gonna explode.
Yeah, and it comes from that space of loving yourself, giving yourself that permission to actually look at your needs, feel your needs, express your needs. If you don't love yourself, you're not going to be able to understand what your needs are. It's a deep work to understand who you are today, what your needs are, and with all those emotions of today and the part of the past that we can clean up and heal so we can interact in our best way who we are today.
Absolutely. So the message for today is, if you are in the situation where you are thinking, do you stay or do you go? Just ask yourself the deeper question, if you are happy, right? Because the bottom line is, you cannot feel that happiness was just having somebody by your side, just not to feel alone. Because you could still be with somebody, but you can feel lonely.
Exactly, exactly. The emotions are very important. Doesn't matter if you're male or female, we all have emotions. So, yes, I understand men usually put their emotions in the different compartment, but they still have that. And if we don't really pay attention to it and talk about it and feel it, then how can we be in a relationship that will, for us to be happy?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Just, evaluate your values, evaluate your beliefs, and evaluate yourself, right? Because, like I said, when we learn how to value ourselves, we do not downgrade our standards, right? Let those people to rise up to our standards, but never ever lower your standards for anybody.
Yes. Well,
Anything else you wanted to conclude our discussion today?
I did, I don't know, I did put the ebook and workbook about uh, how to have a heartful connection with your partner. So I hope that that will help. You can read the ebook and do the worksheet. And it's all about knowing your values, as you said, and what your needs are. So I hope that would help. And if you guys have any questions, you can always reach out to me or Irina. We're always here to help you.
Absolutely. And if you still didn't register for my amazing event, Supercharge Your Manifesting Powers, where all is the topics are all about manifestation, how to manifest anything that you want and how to do it, and the tools and the tips and personal stories, please register at the link. It's a free event. All you have to do, just click that button and get yourself into the space where you're going to learn a lot and expand your consciousness and make yourself a better version and live much fulfilled life. So I invite everybody to join. And like always, if any questions, Coach Elle is here. I'm here. And just click the links and explore and make your life beautiful. Thank you. See you
Thank
next
you.
time.